Have a nice Thanksgiving. Thanks.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for a moment of silent reflection for our servicemen and women throughout the world and for those who have passed away in our community, especially Mike Wishno. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. King? Mr. Schuster?
Present.
Dr. Rothchild?
Here.
Mr. McAndrew?
Present.
Mr. Smurl?
Here, please dispense with the reading of the minutes.
Third order, 3A, Lackawanna County Planning Commission Subdivision and Land Development Evaluation Reports reviewed November 5th, 2025. 3B, minutes of the Scranton Firefighters Pension Commission meeting held October 15th, 2025. 3C, minutes of the Composite Pension Board meeting held October 15th, 2025. 3D, minutes of the Non-Uniform Municipal Pension Board meeting held October 15th, 2025. 3E, agenda for the Non-Uniform Municipal Pension Board meeting held November 19th, 2025. 3F, agenda for the Scranton City Planning Commission meeting held November 19th, 2025. 3G, minutes of the Scranton Police Pension Commission meeting held October 15th, 2025. 3H, correspondence received November 20th, 2025 from the Scranton Shade Tree Commission. 3I, correspondence dated November 17th, 2025 from Johnson College President and CEO Dr. Katie Patelli regarding support for Geisinger Health System expansion in Scranton. 3J, overtime report for all departments for November 2025 as provided by the City Controller and received November 21st, 2025.
Are there any comments on any of the third order items?
I have a comment on one of the third order items, item 3F. So it was the agenda for the City Planning Commission meeting held November 19th. So can we, I know that they don't approve their minutes prior to next month's meeting, but can we reach out and get the minutes so we know what exactly happened at the Planning Commission meeting?
I checked on that today and they're not yet prepared, but I'll follow up tomorrow.
All right, thank you very much. At that meeting, do we know, so I have a couple questions about what happened at that meeting. Can we ask if plans were presented by Geisinger at that meeting? Who put it on the agenda for the Planning Commission? What members were present that night? What was the actual vote? And then the meeting took place in the governor's room next door. Was there any meeting that was scheduled in council chambers that night for the meeting to be moved over to the governor's room?
I'll ask all those questions.
Thank you. That's it.
Okay.
I have similar talking points I'll reserve for fifth order with regards to that.
Anything else? If not, received and filed. Do any council members have any announcements at this time?
I don't have an announcement, just a wish. I'd like to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. I hope you're surrounded by the people you love and have some really good food. So that's all I have to announce.
Thank you.
Also, happy Thanksgiving.
Fourth order, citizen participation.
First, Joan Holowanis.
One at Scranton. Next week, Tuesday, December 2nd through Saturday, December 6th, the library will be having its pre-Christmas book sale at the marketplace at Steamtown on the second floor right in front of Crush Gym. And a lot of the books they sell for $1 or $2 are in pristine condition. They would make great Christmas gifts, especially for children, you know, and support literacy for your children if you want them to have a good education. Okay, has there been any progress finding somebody to become the new director of DPW?
Haven't
Nope.
done anything.
Okay, and they're still working on their collective bargaining agreement?
I would hope.
Okay, at least they're working on it. With regard to the budget, I had a long talk with Matt, and my concern was looking at the police department. There's a line item in there which says Social Security, $509,000. Now, you need to understand that the uniformed police do not pay Social Security. What that line should say is FICA tax, and there should be a footnote at the bottom of the page, which you can do in Excel. You put a footnote there and it says, this $509,000 is comprised of Social Security and Medicare for various public safety departments, basically fire and police. That's how you get the grand total of $509,000. And I asked Matt, well, why do you have it labeled Social Security and you put it in the police department when they do not pay that? He says, well, this is the way it's always been done. So he has agreed for next year to change it to a FICA tax with a footnote explaining how that figure is broken down. And you know, you may think, well, this is kind of nitpicking in the weeds. The taxpayers should be able to look at that budget and understand what it says. And when you start confusing them with this kind of nonsense, you know, I mean, this is not transparency. This is not the kind of full disclosure when you're talking about the expenditure of tax dollars. It may sound like a little thing, but it's this kind of attention to detail that you need when you're handling our money. I was happy about one thing, you know, I saw the overtime statistics through the month of November, and the grand total was 105%. And if you look at the proposed budget, they have increased the figure up to 117%. So they are trying to adjust overtime figures so that they will reflect the actual expenditures that they expect next year. The only other thing is 5F. This $3 million to buy the Fidelity Bank. I'm not convinced that you need that building because you're too crowded in this building. I'm a little concerned that what we're actually doing is buying a building where the general public can go to get a permit, to pay their tax bill, anything that requires having contact with the city employees, and that this building would be locked down and we'll never get in here except for maybe the city council meetings at night. Somebody really needs to justify to me this $3 million non-taxable debt, which we're adding to the city's finances. Do we really need that Fidelity Bank building? Or are we just trying to divert the general public away from City Hall during the daytime? I'm still not convinced that we have a massive security issue that the general public cannot come into this building. We came into it for years and everybody survived. I don't know why we have to change. Thank you.
Thank you, Joan. I do have one announcement. 5C on the agenda tonight, we have to remove it. It will be put back on for next week. There was an error found. Next on the list is Tyler.
Hi, council members. My name is Tyler Warden, and I am a homeless person, a homeless individual that lives in your city. I am trying to find out what is the council doing to help us, because we are like a community. We all work together, help each other out, food, clothing, all that. But what are you guys going to help us do to survive? We have been, I've been hearing from organizations that we are being illegally evicted from our campsites in the middle of winter. And I'm trying to figure out, is there a solution we can come up working with the city and working with the homeless people, because we don't feel comfortable going to cops at all. And that's becoming an issue between law enforcement and us trying to work together and see what we could do. So I was wondering if you had any thoughts or any ideas on how you could help us, because it's getting pretty bad.
Okay, Tyler, I am not totally up on what the new plan is. I know they're working on something, but I will find out. Mr. Voldenberg, if we could ask the administration if they did come up with what we're going to do, and if we're going to be taking camps down.
I will, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, and one more thing. I would like to know if there's a way that maybe the homeless community can get involved in helping council members make decisions, since we live the lifestyle and we know exactly what goes on year-round out on the streets. And I already talked to the mayor about some cost-effective options that work in other cities that I was in, like tiny homes instead of campsites where they could throw trash everywhere and mess it up, Maybe do like a trash program where it's an incentive. We get a tiny home, which is basically a small house built on a trailer, and maybe trash cans around some of these spots, that are campsites, to help, control the amount of DPW coming in and having to remove trash. But I hear that's very expensive.
Okay. Well, all of that you've said is the administration, and that you spoke to the right person, spoke to the mayor. I will continue on that track.
Okay, thank you. That's all I got for tonight. Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Tyler, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
What other cities were you in?
I was homeless in Nashville, Tennessee, where they did the same thing, and it was very effective in reducing the number of homeless individuals on the streets. I worked with many organizations in Nashville as well that were trying to find out ways to help. I also was with an organization that went to Washington, D.C. and sat on the Capitol, and we did peaceful protests. And they were there because they were trying to ban homelessness, which would make it harder for homeless people to have a spot to stay. They wanted us out of the city. They were going to throw us in jail for 6 years and a $3,000 fine every time we would be caught homeless on the streets. And that would have been detrimental to, people feeling safe. And a lot of stuff went on out in the homeless community that I think we can actually improve on and make it a better situation for the city and for homeless individuals altogether.
Now, when you're here in Scranton, what services do you access?
There are very limited resources here. I have, as far as places to stay overnight, we have one overnight shelter that services all of Lackawanna County, and it is not even any room. Code Blue is run out of the same shelter, and that's why I want to know why Western Field has not been reopened. That was a bigger venue and it could fit more people. The Olive Street shelter only has like 25 men's beds and like 4 women's beds. And that's not even big enough to run a Code Blue out of, because you got more than 25 men and 4 women in Scranton that are homeless at any given time.
Yeah,
Due to Keystone shutting down and the fact that they shut down the Wilkes-Barre one, and a lot of people are coming from Wilkes-Barre because Wilkes-Barre is cracking down and throwing people in jail for being homeless.
About when you go to the shelter at night, about how many individuals are there? Do you know?
On any given day, there could be like 3 beds on the men's side available with all the other men that normally stay there like every day, year-round. The women's beds are never available. There's not one women's bed every time I stayed in there. Not one.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Mike Mancini?
Good evening, Scranton. There was a planning commission meeting last week where there was approval for the GCMC project. I do not believe that the public and local media outlets were properly notified. Because of this reason alone, it should be appealed. Here's my suggested compromise. Mind you, very smart people do think alike. The parking garage needs to be taken out of the equation and built at the location where the employees currently park their vehicles in Naog. I'm sure the brilliant minds with Geisinger would immediately have ideas for the extra square footage. I expect to see an increase in citizenship to our local region once the railway system is introduced. We do appreciate GCMC and their amazing employees and embrace expansion. I'm for this well-funded and well-needed project, but not in its current condition. I hope that all parties can resolve this dispute and consider my recommendation. Thank you to Geisinger for wanting to invest in our future and taking care of us in a time of need and willing to expand for the right reasons. That very same railway will attract and introduce unruly individuals to our region, including Scranton. Guns, drugs, and gangs, something that we are already familiar with. Once the railway system is introduced to Scranton, the trouble south and east of us will be increased in our own hometown. Future, I politely asked for months, then recently with sharper words, that one of you, or all of you, please answer our concerns related to the safety of the future of Scranton. Some concerns that are a matter of life and death, like the city opioid-related deaths without justice. Last week, Scranton lost a friend. A family lost a loved one. Prayers to everyone who knew him, especially the family. I know that feeling too well. They deserve justice like so many other families. I was told by our police chief that all drug dealers have burner phones and that we eventually catch them doing other things. I was recently corrected by a Scranton police officer that we have well over 2,000 active warrants. How safe does that sound to you? It's the very same reason why the prison overtime is an all-time low. Not everyone is held accountable for their actions. Tonight, council needs to be held accountable. Will the technician for ECTV please split the screen with council and myself? Thank you. You know the questions. As a referral, I'll ask again. Where's the breakdown with the police department as to why not one family receives justice over a loved one's opioid-related death? What is the current process for taking the active bad actors with warrants off of our streets and making them safer? How many warrants are active? What's the difference between the former drug task force and the current structure? Are there less police officers specific to drug-related crimes? When is the next unhoused task force meeting? This will be the last time that I'll ask these questions politely. Refusal comes with recourse. While getting your rest, remember these words. Think about the families and friends without justice for their loss. I will have justice in a couple weeks, still lose sleep over missing my son. Which one of you would like to ask Mr. Voldenberg to forward my questions to Chief Carroll and the administration? This past week, we lost an amazing guy, experienced 2 separate machete incidents in one day. One of those machetes was used to attack a female. Our city also experienced a homeless camp that burnt to the ground. How important is the safety and the future of Scranton to each one of you? Not answering my safety concerns does not make them go away. Neither will I. If you choose to ignore not only my concerns, but also those of so many others, consider yourselves as an accomplice to the current climate. The assaults, the burglaries, the armed robberies, and every unwanted death. One victim is too many. Which one of you is going to ask Mr. Voldenberg tonight? Anybody? But yet the three of you sit there and beg for
Easy answers you can you just talk to Chief Carroll, all right? You pose some questions to him.
You're the head for public safety. You should be asking those, getting those answers.
Listen, I'm not going to
shouldn't you?
engage you, but the answers you seek about prosecution you asked last week, that's not our purview.
2,000 words.
Okay,
You're the head of public safety for the chair for public safety.
All right, I know that. I'm well-
2,000.
Okay.
Is that a concern of yours?
Listen, yes, but there's a process.
Then ask them how many there are. Ask them what the process is. Ask them why there's so many.
The DA prosecutes. The police make the arrest.
Right.
There is a process.
Nobody's getting arrested, Mark. Do you understand that? Nobody. And yet, you're silent. But yet
Not silent.
You're not asking the questions. The concern is simple. People are dying. There's a railway system coming through, and you refuse to even get the concerns addressed. But yet you're going to be begging for the support of the FOP again. Very shameful. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Patricia Spalletta?
Good evening, Council. My name's Patricia Spalletta, resident of the Hill section. I'm going to read portions of a letter that was drafted by Mr. Sakiti and sent yesterday to Nick Coleman at GCMC on behalf of the Park Area residents. Copies have been sent to you via email. There is great concern by the affected neighbors and other Scranton residents regarding the proposed zoning amendment advanced by the mayor on behalf of GCMC, which will undo the zoning compromise for both the 200 and the 400 blocks of Colfax Avenue, which the Park Area residents and neighbors were able to achieve a year and a half ago when Scranton City Council adopted a comprehensive zoning ordinance along with other communities in Lackawanna County. In connection with the comprehensive zoning ordinance adopted in 2023, the mayor proposed the same zoning classification as is presently before Scranton City Council. The net effect of what the mayor wanted then and is promoting now is shown on this photograph. I think this will be included in the email, of the 400 block of Arthur Avenue with a 120-foot garage on the easterly side of the 400 block of Colfax Avenue. At last week's council meeting, Council President Smurl suggested to the neighbors that we should attempt a meeting with GCMC representatives to discuss the proposed zoning amendment and the prospect of an agreement as to an alternative to the zoning change that will give both GCMC and the neighbors something that both sides can live with. Such an agreement will allow GCMC's proposed development plan to go forward without destroying the fabric of the adjacent residential community. On behalf of the Park Area residents and neighbors and other concerned Scranton residents, we request to meet with you and other GCMC representatives to discuss entering into a Community Benefits Agreement, or CBA. A CBA is typically used when there is a conflict between developers and the community. The CBA would include, but not be limited to, issues that would come before the Scranton Zoning Hearing Board, such as height restrictions, setbacks, screening, lighting, noise, etc., that would allow the GCMC proposed development to go forward without zoning approval other than to the extent as may be necessary in the actual construction phase. A CBA will address all of these issues to our mutual satisfaction and will serve as a basis for further agreements between GCMC and the affected neighbors and neighborhood going forward. We would like to invite you and other representatives of CGMC to meet with the Park Area residents and neighbors and other Scranton residents who are concerned about the impact on Naog Park on Monday, December 1st in the early evening hours at the Naog Park Community Room at the Olive Street entrance. It would be helpful if you can bring the proposed plans, drawings, etc., intended to be presented at the caucus before Scranton City Council on Tuesday, December 2nd, 2025, to aid in our discussion of a possible compromise. We are hopeful that GCMC representatives will participate in this overture for good faith settlement discussions. Thank you.
Thank you. Lang Sharipo?
Good evening, Council. It's been a while since I've been here. Did you miss me?
Yeah.
Just like a migraine, right? Okay, what's going on is this past summer, oh yeah, happy Thanksgiving to you guys.
Nice.
And you people too. The flooding problem in Kaiser Valley there, you know, it still exists. We've been pretty lucky this year during the summer, except for 2 really nasty storms that the neighbors all got flooded. You know, so after that, DPW put in new curbs, but we don't know yet if they do anything. But what I'm really here to bring to attention, the 2300 block of Lafayette Street has a gravel ditch that runs down to the retention pond in the corner by my property there. That ditch is not a ditch anymore. It's filled with debris. The leaves now that have fallen, and the wind just tends to blow them in that direction. I'm hoping that we can get DPW to clean out that ditch, because with that ditch filled, I mean, I do know the flooding process, how it works. If it's not being taken to that pond, the water comes over the road, goes into my property, and then all the other neighbors, it goes right through the properties. So I'm hoping that, you know, we can get DPW up there to get their flushing or vacuum machine. Now the pond that the ditch goes to, I don't know, you have to get the supervisor to determine if that needs to be flushed too. I mean, we found out over the years that maintaining helps in the flooding problem, you know, whatever is yet to come. So, you know, that's what I'm hoping for. That, you know,
Mr.
we could
Voldenberg,
get-
could you alert DPW to Lenny's issues and see if they can rectify them?
I will.
Thank you. Now, I noticed when the fire department was here, on one of their posts, they had the SFD initiative for an emergency plan for the floodplains. Geez, I don't know anything whatsoever about any kind of emergency flooding plan that they had on there. I'm hoping that I could find out more about it, because there's nothing that goes on in the event of a flood.
Can you also get
Yeah,
him a
so
copy
if
of
I
that?
could find out anything else.
We'll get you a copy.
You know. Okay. Merry Christmas, too.
You too.
Thank you. Alan Lucas?
Good evening, Council. Alan Lucas, Scranton, President, IFF Local 60, representing the Scranton firefighters. Normally I'm here for something different, so this is a change of tune. I just wanted to take the time to address City Council tonight and say that I brought up a concern this morning to the mayor, and it was immediately addressed. And it was an increase to safety of the members of Local 60. So on behalf of the membership, Local 60, we just want to publicly acknowledge and tell her we appreciate her attentiveness to the matter. I usually speak here publicly when we're not doing well with the mayor. So it's only right that I acknowledge when something positive does happen. So I just wanted to take a quick 45 seconds to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. Les Spindler?
Good evening, Council. Les Spindler, city resident, homeowner. Mr. Smurl, you can't pick and choose what rules you enforce. You have to enforce everything the same. Last week, you wouldn't allow people to clap. Yes, they can. Under the United States Constitution, that's freedom of expression. For years, we came here when Mayor Doherty tried to stop the police and firefighters from getting a contract. These chambers were jammed, and everybody clapped, and nobody said that nobody else, that we can't clap. So, but on the other hand, everybody that came here in support of Geisinger last week, you didn't ask where they were from. You have to be a Scranton resident to speak here. I guarantee none of those people lived in Scranton, and you allowed them to speak. So enforce the rules evenly, okay? You know, you'll only be here for another month or so I don't know why I'm wasting my breath, because you're going to do what the mayor tells you to do anyway. Next thing. Yesterday, I came across a serious situation. I was coming down Greenridge Street towards Main Avenue, where the new bridge is being built, and traffic is backed up both ways. It used to be at the top of the hill there, where North Scranton Junior High used to be, there were 2 lanes to turn, right and left. Now they're putting a curb in by where Triumph Auto is, auto repair, and they took 1 lane away. So there's 1 lane to come down and 1 lane to go up. And the traffic's backed all the way down the bridge, both ways. And I was behind an ambulance yesterday. It was about a block ahead of me. The ambulance was stuck on the bridge with siren going, lights going. It was stuck. It must have been there 2 or 3 minutes before it got through the traffic. That's a serious situation. I don't know what could be done, but whoever planned that bridge, they should have put a lane, an extra lane in it for emergency vehicles. Somebody's loved one they were going to pick somebody up probably at somebody's house, and they couldn't get, somebody's loved one could have been dying, and that ambulance was stuck on that bridge. It's terrible. And that's probably not the first time that's happened. It's just the first time I witnessed it. So, whoever designed that plan, they should lose their job. Because emergency vehicles shouldn't be stuck on a bridge like that. Lastly, I always talk about this idiot in the White House, but Donald Trump, he's unbelievable. I don't know if anybody saw the news last week. How he was on Air Force One, and a reporter from Bloomberg asked him about the Epstein files, and he said, "Quiet, piggy." Then another day or 2 later, Mary Bruce from ABC asked the same question, and he said, "You're a terrible reporter. You work for a terrible network." What president would ever insult people like that? Never in my lifetime. The guy's an embarrassment and a disgrace to the office of President of the United States. It's unbelievable. And now he's threatening that the 6 Congress people who are war heroes, war veterans, who said that the military shouldn't obey illegal rules. Illegal is the operative word there. It's in the Constitution. They don't have to obey illegal rules. He's saying they should be put to death. What kind of man did these people elect? No other president would ever say these things. He's unbelievable. And he's got so many unhinged reporters, or supporters, I mean. They was even on the news that they could start going after these people like they did going after the Capitol on January 6th. So he's the one that's unhinged, along with a lot of his supporters. And, I don't know. He should go. Like I said, he's an embarrassment. Thank you for your time, and everybody have a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Lee Morgan?
Good evening, Council. Lee Morgan. You know, I listened to Les here, so I figured I'd say, you know, President Trump is doing such a great job, and I know Les is really wrestling with that, but that's okay. The first thing I have here are just a couple brief things. I think the County Commissioner, Chris Shermack, should appeal Judge Gibbons' decision in regards to the reassessment. And, you know, it's a lot more complicated than that, but he definitely has to do an appeal of Judge Gibbons' order. The other thing I have is, in the new budget, ECTV should become a public, educational, and government channel. Its funding and its direction should change. This federal case I filed is really just starting. It's probably going to take a decade or longer to wind through the court. But in the end, I firmly believe I'm going to prevail. And the sad part is that when you read what the Congress and Senate intended for that channel, and by allowing the government itself, which is the council and the way the channel's funded, and the mayor, to steal that asset from the residents who own it, is really a crime, an injustice. And to be a representative republic, that the Congress and the Senate created a channel to give them a voice and have the government move in and let somebody operate it as if they have a right to contain free speech, it's wrong. And in the end, I'm going to prevail. And it's really pathetic that I have to do these things. And I think it'd behoove the city to save itself, because there's going to be a lot more actions coming. I retire in February. I don't think you have a law department big enough to handle what's going to come. And I'm just a truck driver. So imagine if I was a real attorney, what had happened. I just think that too many people aren't willing to stand up for what our founders envisioned for us. But the Congress and Senate was straightforward with what it said and what it did when it created those channels, and there was a reason for it. The city gave one channel away and then stifled any kind of discussions like the community medical center. That should be an issue that should be really discussed on that channel in depth, because doing a zoning change to make anything happen there, I think, is criminal. And to be honest with you, that hospital's in the wrong place. It's outgrown its footprint, and it can't serve the community from there. Okay, we need to build a new hospital. We need to be in discussions with somebody that can make that happen off the Mulberry Street Bridge, probably across from the Veterans Hospital, or in close proximity to it. Regional has just been completely just neglected by its owner. And Moses Taylor needs to be resurrected as a pregnancy hospital, which it serves at this point, okay, and a neonatal intensive care hospital for children and newborns because of where it sits in the neighborhood. We keep doing projects and keep mismanaging this city, and it really has to end, and somebody has to stand up and make some smart decisions. We all have a lot of respect for the CMC and its staff, but the hospital is antiquated, and to make it function is impossible. A modern hospital is something this community needs. We had 3 hospitals. Well, we had 4, but the governor killed the state hospital, which was probably the most functional and best hospital in the city at the time. But we can't cry over spilled milk. But we have to build a hospital that's more conducive to treatment of residents and from citizens around this area, and that hospital can't do it. Modern hospitals are much different. The equipment would be much different. The whole thing would be better. Mulberry Street's constricted, and it has no place to grow where it is. It needs to move. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Morgan. That's all for our sign-in sheet. Anybody else wish to speak?
Tom Coyne-Manuka. Again, I bring in tonight, rather than chunky soup, do you need more beef stew and spicy chili? It's Thanksgiving. Not only are people going hungry, some of them just got the food handout from the poor for the turkey handout that was tonight in front of the community center. A lot of people probably missed it because there was not a lot of advertisement saying that that was going on. We look at Code Blue in this city. We say we're trying to make things better. We have a unsheltered task force that's been in operation now for years. Keystone announced it closed on June 17th of this year, 5 months ago. And we're still looking at who should operate a Code Blue shelter. Maybe it should have been done before Code Blue was here. Maybe in 5 months there should have been an initiative, a program, an incentive, a reason to get behind making sure that homeless have a place to go before they're freezing. But like everything else, we wait till the last minute. Be it homeless, taking care of the homeless, or be it bringing things before City Council that have to be done instantly because there's no time to do it, because suddenly it appeared and there's only 3 weeks left, or funding runs out, or whatever the excuse. It's always an urgency because no one is proactive. Mike had a number of questions here, and a lot of people have questions, and a lot of them don't get answered, and I understand how frustrating that is. Sometimes they're not clear, and that's the issue. But there are people who are hurting, who are looking for answers, or just to be heard and listened to. You're aware, if you looked at anything in the news, I'm sure you're aware that Axion and Flock have recently come up because they're sharing all the photos and data with the Immigration and Naturalization Service, and they've been combing over all of the cameras to locate people, follow, track them, and contact police departments to track who they determine are suspicious people through these cameras. That has now been discovered. Not only do we know that they look at political stickers on cars and mark those down in their database, but they've also been used for civil protests and meetings for doing facial recognition. It's gone beyond license plate readers to surveillance. And what we have here with putting in Flock and these cameras is a surveillance network that is not for the benefit of the city of Scranton. It's also to the detriment when INS is using it to search your own population without you even knowing it. Moving on, community care. Geisinger has a community care center behind Sheets. It's two or three stories tall. It's tucked back in there. It's right off the Scranton Expressway, and that's someplace that no one in the area, probably right on the other side of the school, would have a problem with something 120 feet. You can build up. There's room back there. There's land back there. That's the place to build something like that. Leave the critical care up at the hospital. Build an expansive care center and beds down next to the expressway. The room's there and there's not the community upset for it. Moving on, tonight we have on the agenda 7E for Dwayne Heisler. Did any of you look at it and review it and review the documents for him? Mr. Smurl? Did you specifically, when you had paperwork here signaling him out, take a look? Or how about 7G for Joseph Murray as a sitting planning commission? None of them have filed their financial information paperwork, and none of them are allowed to act in the positions they are now. Why are we re-electing them or appointing them when they're not allowed currently because they're not in compliance with the SOFI regulations? And you brought this, Mr. Smurl, before this body into the legal department, so I don't know how you're not aware that these people on this...
Thank you.
Do your job.
Hello, Barbara O'Malley, city resident. I have spoken on CMC before, but that's not why I'm at the podium tonight. I want to offer a thank you to Mr. Voldenberg for helping with the sound in council. I'll give you a little bit of the background. I was here 2 meetings, and after the last one, I did email Frank, I'm going to call him, and ask. I told him I couldn't hear. I do have a hearing loss. It's a little humbling to have to admit. Maybe too much rock music in my youth, I don't know. But I'm walking in the shoes of people who can't, I think, God, I'm sorry, Dad, for all the times I lost my patience with you when he was losing his hearing. So at any rate, I did take the time to email and ask if something could be done in city council chambers, because it's really important to be able to participate in what's going on. And next week is a vital meeting for those of us who are concerned about Geisinger. So initially, Frank, in his response, said, people don't really point that out. And I thought about it, and I thought probably people, it's like a one and done, and maybe, to take the time to, but it's really about Frank and his kindness and his attention, because from the minute you sit down until the minute you're finished, it's, Mr. Voldenberg, would you look at this? Mr. Voldenberg, can you do this? And he's exceedingly polite, and he's exceedingly kind. And I believe that runs in your family. Was it your uncle who was a city clerk? Who was in your family that was
Ozzie Quinn.
Pardon me? Ozzie?
Bob Ozzie Quinn.
A civil servant as well. But I really want to thank you, Frank. It means the world to me what you did.
My pleasure.
I heard everybody, and I also want to thank everybody who came to council tonight. Up there and down here, because this is the democratic process, and we all need to be heard, literally and figuratively. So thank you. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hello, Scranton. Rick Little. I ran for mayor, came in last. I'd like to talk about the process that everybody's really thinking about. I mean, this is a beautiful city, but not in the right way. I mean, I'm a photographer. I walk around, I see great light, I see all this stonework, I feel all this energy. from hundreds of years of people, and I picked this city to live in, and then they evicted me, and I'd like to give the Tenants Bill of Rights. If the people are here. This is a good thing that was put out by the renter woman who I've tried to talk to today, and when they opened up City Hall, about certain things that are wrong in this. I mean, it's good that it comes out, but I lived in Scranton Housing Authority in the elderly building that was built for the elderly, and I'm elderly, and there's all these young people in there, and I don't really understand where we're going here. But in the big picture, I do understand, because I've always been into government. The town I lived in, Wheaton, Illinois, my father was like the main person pushing that community into becoming an all-American city in 1967, and it was the most heartbreaking thing of my life to have to move from there in 1968 to Western New York. But I've learned a lot in running for mayor and through my life. And there needs to be a good system. I mean, I've been coming here for over 6 years and talking, because I don't understand how it works. When there's a problem, you go to somebody and there's a chain of command, but I can't see the chain of command, but of how it works in the home rule charter city and county. But there's too much legal stuff going on. I mean, I hear that Governor Shapiro is suing President Trump or HUD or something. All these lawsuits, like Lee Morgan was saying, they just go on forever. It's a thing. And what I've noticed about this area, it's overly filled with law. There has to be somebody you can go talk to, some sort of ombudsman thing, because it's crazy here, calling 311 and trying to get an appointment with people. Anyway, there's a lot of people that care about the city, and I've always watched, how my father worked with the different factions of Wheaton, Illinois, and I watched the city of Wheaton, Illinois. It combined with Naperville. They tore down my high school, and it just went to hell. And I noticed a lot of communities, municipalities, just go to hell. Even in Pike County, they get rid of their police department so they can use the state police to save money. Somebody has to be thinking about an intelligent way to have what you have and make the best of it. And there needs to be a map, some sort of map to understand how government works, because we're at a war with AI, really. I mean, you come here, they're talking about, surveillance. This is surveillance. And I'm running out of time, but, I've been following this thing, Archibald, right up next to the Valley View High School is Lockheed Martin, and I know downtown you got General Dynamics. These are globalist factions. And I've seen all these big politicians come in here signing bombs for a war, and that is the biggest problem, because the data centers, we're going to make it unlivable here. And it shouldn't be a political thing. People have to talk about it.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Fifth order, 5A motions.
Mr. Schuster, do you have any motions or comments?
I'll just be quick tonight. Mr. Voldenberg, I have a request for you. Can we check on the paving of Jackson Street? I did get some emails and some calls about it. If it's going to be paved prior to the winter, or if it's going to remain in that condition until the spring.
I'll check into it.
Thank you. And then I do have 2 code enforcement addresses I'm going to give over to you. I'll give them to you after the meeting, as well as 2 petitions for streetlights that I received earlier this week. So I'll talk to you after the meeting about those. But
thank you, sir.
Yep, thank you. That's all, Mr. Smurl.
Thank you, Mr. Schuster. Dr. Rothchild, do you have any motions or comments?
No, none at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. McAndrew, do you have any motions or comments?
I do. So, I'm sorry. So I said I would speak in fifth order. So first of all, thank you for reading the letter that we received in the Community Benefits Agreement. That's something I'm not totally familiar with, but it looks like a good idea. I always say most good ideas come from our residents. So I don't know if that requires an ordinance itself for us, so I'm going to task our solicitor, if you would please look into that based on the letter we received and see what that's all about and how that would apply to us and how it could benefit. So the plot kind of thickens concerning last week's Planning Commission meeting. I take issue with the meeting, too. The day after our meeting, the proposed zoning amendment for Geisinger moved from 5th order to 6th order, and then it was tabled. This was last week. So the day after, there's a planning meeting, commission meeting. And, you know, this is the proposed zoning amendment for Geisinger. That's actually a name of it now. Every party's calling it now. That's pretty sad that Geisinger has legislation pretty much named for them. It's concerning. So this regular scheduled Planning Commission meeting was moved from City Hall chambers, where meetings are here and recorded and agendas are posted on ECTV. It was moved to the governor's room, where it was not taped. So I didn't see an agenda till days later. All right, it was finally posted, so that's concerning as well. Like I said, so this regularly scheduled Planning Commission meeting was moved from City Hall chambers, where meetings are recorded and agendas are posted on ECTV, to the governor's room, where it was not taped. No agenda was posted anywhere until a day or two after the meeting. For the past week, I've been seeking the meeting minutes for this meeting to no avail. Only being told they have to be voted on next meeting, and were not yet prepared by the assistant city planner, who was leaving city employment for a new job. So my questions are, okay, so what was actually voted on? We don't know. The mayor's proposed amendment for Geisinger? I don't know. Was that voted on at a planning meeting? Proposals from the mayor aren't voted on in planning meetings. Not that I'm, not that I've ever heard as long as I'm here. Were the plans presented by Geisinger, or any plans? Don't know. So is this the Planning Commission and not the mayor's proposed amendment commission? Excuse my language, but this was done half-assed backwards. Geisinger is not appealing our decision 2 years ago, or restarting the process by going to the Planning Commission and presenting their plans, then on to zoning to seek the variances. That's process, guys, procedure. I've stated up here more than a few times that I sit in this seat at the pleasure of the residents. We are voted into these seats by residents who want us to be their representatives and their voice, making decisions based on their best interest. Do we embrace and engage economic development? Sure. Do we embrace, encourage, and welcome better quality health care? Of course. In our roles, we are supposed to be fair to everyone we serve. This is why we have authorities, boards, and commissions that provide procedures, processes, and continuity. When our biggest developers, like John Basiliga, Charlie Jefferson, and Art Russo, just to name a few, want to do what they do best, they play by the rules and present their plans to the Planning Commission, which are then moved forward to zoning to hash out variances if needed or warranted with public input. This is good government. These gentlemen, along with other developers, have greatly stimulated economic growth, increased revenue to the city, and has transformed downtown into something special. There are no special proposed zoning amendments named after them or special treatment given to them through the planning and zoning process. So this has to be rebooted. I mean, this is not about not being for advancement of healthcare. This is about following the process. It's not being followed, all right? So like I said, everybody claims, along with me, they want a compromise. Compromise can only take place in front of the zoning board during the variance request process and will not occur after an amended ordinance. I'm telling you, I don't know what you're being told or what you think you hear. The only thing that Geisinger, if this is ordinance, the amended ordinance is approved, is they can come back to zoning if they want to go over 100 feet. They can come back to zoning if there's an issue with setbacks. It's the only time we're ever going to see them again, folks, if this is passed. I'm not sure if my colleagues understand this could possibly be precedent setting. In all fairness, the residents who voted for us to be their representatives, we need to vote this proposed amendment down, and that would task Geisinger to follow the same fair and established good practices that everyone else has to follow. That is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. McAndrew. Jessica's not here. I don't think she has a copy of this. This is for the fence downtown. Would you read the motion part?
At 5G, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, can we get there?
Thanks. Okay.
5B for introduction and ordinance, transferring funds from closing and abolishing inactive special city accounts, amending account as noted, and creating and establishing a new account as noted for the Department of Parks and Recreation to receive and disperse donations to all city parks.
At this time, I entertain a motion that item 5B be introduced into its proper committee.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, all those in favor signify by, of introduction, signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
The ayes have it, and so moved.
5D for introduction, a resolution accepting a donation in the amount of $10,000 to the City of Scranton's Parks and Recreation Department to be placed in Special Cities Services account as noted.
At this time, I entertain a motion that item 5D be introduced into its proper committee.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, all those in favor of introduction signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it, so moved.
5E for introduction, a resolution authorizing the mayor and other appropriate city officials to execute and submit a grant application by the Office of Economic and Community Development of the City of Scranton to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, acting through the Commonwealth Financing Authority for a local share account grant for up to $141,678 to be used towards the Trip Park Missy League fencing replacement project.
At this time, I entertain a motion that item 5E be introduced into its proper committee.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, all those in favor of introduction signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it, so moved.
5F for introduction, a resolution authorizing the city to reimburse itself in the amount not to exceed $3 million for expenditures paid by the city from its general fund in connection with capital projects to be completed during calendar year 2026 with the non-taxable debt issuance and in compliance with Section 1.150-2 of the United States Treasury Regulations as amended, and authorizing the mayor and proper officers of the city to carry out the intent and purpose of this resolution, specifically including, but not limited to, the making of timely reimbursement allocations upon the issuance of the debt.
At this time, I entertain a motion that item 5F be introduced into its proper committee.
So moved.
Second.
On the question,
So this isn't anything to do with the Fidelity purchase, right? Because it seems like the same amount, but it's not. That's the legislation we've yet to see, correct? This is not. Correct. Okay, just clarification. Thank you.
All those in favor?
Hang on a minute. This piece authorizes the city to carry out a temporary borrowing to fund the purchase of the Fidelity Bank building located at 134-136 North Washington Avenue, Scranton.
Sales agreement comes down next week. That's for the purchase. This is to get in line the debt if the purchase is decided. They're going to just make the purchase.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. I apologize.
The purpose of this legislation is so the city can go forward to line up the debt and the city can pay itself back if, in fact, they go forward with the purchase. The ordinance with regard to whether or not to purchase the building comes down next week. We just received it today, and it will be on your agenda for next week.
Would it make more sense that comes first, or it makes more sense for this to come first?
It's not a matter of making sense. They have to get the loans in line if they're going to do it. I'm not involved in it, so I can't speak to actually the deal that's happening and how quickly and why they're moving like they are. It could be that Fidelity has another buyer and they're trying to get ahead of that before it occurs. I don't know that because I'm not involved in that sale.
Yeah.
I can certainly reach out and try to find out information for you on that.
Yeah, let's try to, moving forward, let's find out what's going on there.
Absolutely.
Okay. All those in favor of introduction signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
No.
Okay, motion fails.
5G for introduction, a resolution accepting the recommendation of the Historic Architectural Review Board and denying the certificate of appropriateness for the installation of a fence at 301-303 Penn Avenue.
At this time, I entertain a motion that item 5G be introduced into its proper committee.
So moved.
Second.
On the question? All those in favor of introduction signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it, and so moved.
I make a motion to table item 5G.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor and a second to table item 5G. This piece of legislation is being tabled to allow for advertisement of a public hearing to be held Tuesday, December 2nd, 2025 at 5:30 p.m. On the question. All those in favor of signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it, and so moved.
5H for introduction, resolution authorizing the mayor and other appropriate city officials to execute and enter into a contract with Krieger Construction, Inc. to perform services for the Wyoming Avenue Streetscape project.
At this time, I entertain a motion that item 5H be introduced into its proper committee.
So moved.
Second.
On the question? All those in favor of introduction signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it, and so moved.
5I for introduction, a resolution authorizing the mayor and other appropriate city officials to execute and enter into a contract with Krieger Construction, Inc. to perform services for the Linden Street, North Washington Avenue Streetscape project.
At this time, I entertain a motion that item 5I be introduced into its proper committee.
So moved.
Second.
On the question? All those in favor of introduction signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it, and so moved.
5J for introduction, resolution authorizing the mayor and other appropriate city officials to execute and enter into a contract with American Asphalt Paving Company to perform services for the Adams Avenue Streetscape project.
At this time, I entertain a motion that item 5J be introduced into its proper committee.
So moved.
Second.
On the question? All those in favor of introduction signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it, and so moved.
Sixth order, 6A, reading by title, filed to Council Number 105, 2025, an ordinance amending the investment policy for the city of Scranton.
You have heard reading by title of item 6A. What is your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I move that item 6A pass reading by title.
Second.
On the question? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, and so moved.
Seventh order, 7A, for consideration by the Committee on Rules for Adoption, Resolution Number 294, 2025, reappointment of William Laser as a member of the Scranton-Lackawanna Health and Welfare Authority for a term to expire December 31st, 2030.
As chairperson for the Committee on Rules, I recommend final passage of item 7A.
Second.
On the question? Roll call, please.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Dr. Rothchild,
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew,
Yes.
Mr. Smurl.
Yes, I hereby declare item 7A legally, lawfully adopted.
7B for consideration by the Committee on Rules for Adoption, Resolution Number 295, 2025, reappointment of William Laser as a member of the Tax Collection Committee for a term to expire December 31st, 2026.
As chairperson for the Committee on Rules, I recommend final passage of item 7B.
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Schuster,
Yes.
Dr. Rothchild,
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew,
Yes.
Mr. Smurl.
Yes, I hereby declare item 7B legally, lawfully adopted.
7C for consideration by the Committee on Rules for Adoption, Resolution Number 296, 2025, reappointment of Sherry Frabel as a member of the Lackawanna County Land Bank Board for a term to expire December 31st, 2030.
As chairperson for the Committee on Rules, I recommend final passage of item 7C.
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Schuster,
Yes.
Dr. Rothchild,
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew,
Yes.
Mr. Smurl.
Yes, I hereby declare item 7C legally and lawfully adopted.
7D for consideration by the Committee on Rules for Adoption, Resolution Number 297, 2025, reappointment of Marion Gatto as a member of the Lackawanna County Land Bank Board for a term to expire December 31st, 2030.
As chairperson for the Committee on Rules, I recommend final passage of item 7D.
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Schuster,
Yes.
Dr. Rothchild,
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew,
Yes.
Mr. Smurl.
Yes, I hereby declare item 7D legally, lawfully adopted.
7E for consideration by the Committee on Rules for Adoption, Resolution Number 298, 2025, appointment of Dwayne Heisler as a member of the Scranton Municipal Recreation Authority to replace Norma Jeffries for a term to expire on January 3rd, 2027.
As chairperson for the Committee on Rules, I recommend final passage of item 7E.
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Wait, on the
Oh, I'm
question,
sorry.
so is the paperwork in order for this gentleman to be put on? Could I just make a motion so we take a week to take a look at it? To make sure all the proper paperwork's in order? I just made a motion.
Okay, have a motion.
What is your motion to table this?
Yeah. Just until if he's thoroughly vetted. There was a question
So
brought.
you have a motion to table. You need a second or it dies.
Okay.
Okay, we do not have a second. Anyone else on the question? Roll call, please.
Mr. Schuster,
No.
Dr. Rothchild,
No on the motion to table.
no, wait, no.
The motion is on the underlying
didn't
bill.
get-
It's
didn't
not
say-
the table.
Oh, I apologize. Then yes on the legislation.
Mr. McAndrew,
No.
Mr. Smurl.
Yes. Item 7E fails.
7F for consideration by the Committee on Rules for Adoption, Resolution Number 299, 2025, reappointment of Melinda Crocus as an alternate member of the Environmental Advisory Council for a 3-year term, effective June 1st, 2025, and expiring May 31st, 2028.
As chairperson for the Committee on Rules, I recommend final passage of item 7F.
Second.
On the question,
So on the question, this might be the same issue with regards to not all the financial paperwork's in order, and I'd like to table this until we find out for sure.
has a motion to table.
Correct.
Do we have a second?
Second.
So we have a second. All in favor of tabling this, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
No.
The ayes have it, so moved.
7G for consideration by the Committee on Rules for Adoption, Resolution Number 300, 2025, reappointment of Joseph J. Murphy as a member of the City Planning Commission for a term to expire December 31st, 2029.
As chairperson for the Committee on Rules, I recommend final passage of item 7G.
Second.
On the question? Roll call, please.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Dr. Rothchild?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Smurl?
Yes, hereby declare item 7G legally and lawfully adopted.
7H for consideration by the Committee on Community Development for adoption, Resolution Number 302, 2025, authorizing the mayor and other appropriate city officials to execute and submit a grant application on behalf of the City of Scranton's Office of Economic and Community Development to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, acting through the Commonwealth Financing Authority for a local share account grant pursuant to the PA Racehorse Development and Gaming Act for up to $395,760 to be used towards the Discovery Montessori School Building Upgrades Project.
What is the recommendation of the chairperson for the Committee on Community Development?
As chairperson for the Committee on Community Development, I recommend final passage of item 7H.
Second.
On the question? Roll call, please.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Dr. Rothchild?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Smurl?
Yes, I hereby declare item 7H legally and lawfully adopted.
7I for consideration by the Committee on Public Safety for adoption, Resolution Number 303, 2025, authorizing the mayor and other appropriate city officials to execute and submit a grant application on behalf of the City of Scranton to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, acting through the Commonwealth Financing Authority for a local share account grant pursuant to the PA Racehorse Development and Gaming Act for up to $500,000 to be used towards the purchase and installation of technology equipment for the City of Scranton's Police Department.
What is the recommendation of the chairperson for the Committee on Public Safety?
As chairperson for the Committee on Public Safety, I recommend final passage of item 7I.
Second.
On the question? Roll call, please.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Dr. Rothchild?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Smurl?
Yes, I hereby declare item 7I legally, lawfully adopted.
8th order, 8A, file to council number 102, 2025.
This ordinance is the general city operating budget for 2026. It was tabled until public hearing could be held last week. It will be taken from the table on December 2nd, 2025, and placed in 7th order for a final vote.
8B, resolution number 301, 2025.
This resolution is an appointment of Anna Campbell to the Board of Scranton Housing Authority. It has been tabled pending further review.
8C, filed to council number 104, 2025.
This is the amendment to the zoning ordinance. It has been tabled until council can meet with officials from Geisinger on December 2nd, and also until a public hearing can be held on Tuesday, December 9th, 2025 at 5:45 p.m. If there is no further business, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you. This meeting is adjourned.